Hello and welcome to the next part in the Python Control Structures course from How to Code Well. My name is Peter Fisher, and in this tutorial I'm going to be demonstrating a very basic if statement. We're then going to be progressing this if statement to make it even more complex as the course goes on. Essentially, an if statement checks if a condition is true, and if it is true, then something happens. So let's go ahead and create some variables and then check against a condition. So like what we had with our while tutorial, which was one of the first tutorials in this course, we had x and we equaled that to something I believe was 10. Now let's do if and then x greater than, say, 20. If x is greater than 20, then something happens. Notice that the if has gone orange. That means that it is a keyword in Python. This is the operator. We are comparing x greater than 20. If x is greater than 20, then something happens in the body of this if block. Now in this case, x is equal to 10, and therefore it won't be greater than 20, and nothing will actually happen. So let's go and change that to be 5. Now in the body of this if statement, let's do print, and then let's have x is greater than 5. Let's just remove that space here and delete that. Okay, so that's a very simple way of creating an if statement. We're checking against a condition. This is the operator. We're checking if x is greater than 5. And if it is greater than 5, then we go ahead and print out this message. Let's just go ahead and save that. What I need to do is just cd into this folder here, so if, and then let's do Python, then tutorial 1. Press enter, and we can see x is greater than 5. Now we've seen this before, so let's go ahead and make this a little bit more complicated. At the moment, we're only checking one condition in this if statement. So we're saying if x is greater than 5, but we can check a number of conditions within this if statement. Let's have y is equal to 20. And then in the statement of this if block, we can have if x is greater than 5 and y is less than 4. Let's hit save and run this. What do you think is going to happen? Well, nothing actually happens. We have a blank output here. Let's just run that again just to prove that we have nothing coming out at all. And the reason why nothing actually prints out is because yes, x is greater than 5, but y is also greater than 4. Y is not less than 4. So if you think of this if statement as doing two checks, the first check is if x is greater than 5, and the second check is checking if y is less than 4. Now, both of these conditions must be true in order for this to work. So in order to print this out, x must be greater than 5 and y must be less than 4. So in order to get this to work, y needs to be less than 4. So let's go ahead and change that to be 3. Let's save that and run this again. So here we have x is greater than 5, which is correct because y is less than 4. So this statement is running. Now this is checking if both conditions are true on the left and the right hand side of the AND keyword. Now this doesn't have to be an AND, this could be an OR. So let's go ahead and copy this and change some of this around. So if x is greater than 5 or y is greater than, let's say, 15. Let's hit save and then do if x is greater than 5 and y is greater than 15. Excellent. So what do you think is going to be printed out now? Let's just hit save. I'm going to clear down the screen just to make some room and then run this. Now the first output is exactly what we had before. The second output, however, is saying x is greater than 5 and y is greater than 15. However, this needs to be changed to be OR. Let's hit save and then run that again just to get the right output. There we go. Now, because we're using the OR keyword here, it means that either this condition or this condition can return true. So even if that was false, but this was true, this statement would still be running. And this is exactly what's happening because x here is set to 10. So x is greater than 5, that returns true. So that has already met its condition. Or y is greater than 15. Well, y is not greater than 15, y is set to 3. And therefore this returns false. But because we're using the OR, we're saying that if that or if that returns true, then we run this. Just as a recap, let's go and change that to be greater than, change that to be 15. So it's exactly the same as this statement here, but we're using the and I'm just going to grab that and paste that into here. Change that to be an and, like so. And then what we're going to do is just clear down this screen and then run this again. And now we've only got one output, and that output is the OR, this one here, because the AND statement is checking that both sides of this statement are correct. So this is greater than 5 and y is greater than 15. Well, y is not greater than 15. Y is set to 3. So it won't work. However, this will work because we're using an OR keyword. In the next tutorial, I'm going to be demonstrating the if statement in far more detail, so please do subscribe to pick that up. Thanks ever so much for watching. Happy coding, everyone, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers. Bye.